Hello ladies, welcome to another installation of the Uncrowned Diaries. Today I wanted to talk to you about a couple of different things actually. Let me tell you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So the first thing is about investing in yourself, okay? When it comes to walking, remember, walking is a really big portion of your score. It's what you're pretty much selected on, both for when you're in your swimsuit and in your evening gown, and apart from, the time that you meet with the judges behind doors in the speed dating, usually a speed dating kind of environment, for the Miss Universe Canada circuit. So once you've done that, then now you're on stage. But, when you're in those interviews, you give it your best shot and, you get a chance to meet with your judges and make an impression. But that impression is short-lived. It's only about 2 minutes. And then they're on to the next girl and the next girl. So when they see you now on stage, you need to have presence. Okay, and that presence predominantly comes from having a confident walk. So invest in yourself and get yourself someone who can train you to walk and create a routine for yourself so you know what you're doing. Don't go there and wing it. Don't go there and say, I'll figure out what I'm doing. No, go in with a plan. And then of course that plan will have to change because you're going to see the stage and you're going to work with the choreographer and the person who has created the routines. And once you're up there, maybe those routines will change depending on the number of girls that are going on stage, the time limitations, lots of different things. But that being said, you always go in prepared. So investing in yourself means walking with a walking coach. Now, you might say, well, I have a good walk. And if you have a good walk, great, improve it. And also understand that a walk from one pageant to another pageant is different. So what you might be doing on a runway versus a Miss Universe pageant walk versus a Miss World or Miss Eco or any Miss Galaxy, whichever ones you may have experience with, they're all just a little bit different, okay? Just a little bit different. Some of them require you to be a little bit more pep in your step, allow you to just be a little flirty, to show your personality. Other ones, like for example, when we went into our regionals, we were specifically told no winking, no shimmying, so none of this or this. Well, I don't do that anyways. It's not really my personality. But for example, I tend to have a little bit of a serious, fierce energy, not as smiley. Miss Universe, you gotta be smiley, and not overly, and you still have to show your personality, but I'm just saying overall you do need to smile, and that's not me. I tend to have a more like runway face, and I don't know why I have a runway face, because I'm not a runway model, but I've done runway, but that's not my forte. And one of my biggest or I guess it's a blessing and a curse. So I have a long upper torso, like the length of me here is longer than my second half of me at the bottom. The good news about this is that anytime I get any images taken of me, if it's taken from the top up, I look taller than I am, which you have to know how your body is. And my lower half, my legs are not as long. So now I have to work with the heels. Luckily we have heels, so that works out great for me. But that being said, you have to loosen up and you have to work your stride. Like you have to know how to loosen up your hips. Mine are very, very tight. My quads are tight. My hamstrings are tight. Everything's tight. So I need to loosen that up before any of my walks. I need to walk with a coach at least a few times. And so I found someone that I really liked who's well known in the industry. And I work with him online. He's in Paris. I'm here. or wherever he is in the world, if he's traveling, which he is often. And another thing, don't wait till the last minute. Give yourself some time for your walking. Remember that when this pageant is going on, so are many others. This is pageant season. So these coaches are not sitting idly by waiting for you. Like, you need to book up with them or they get booked up. For example, my guy, he had just like a week in June and 2 days in July, or 4 days in July, 4 slots. And that was it. That's all he had. He's all booked up and he's traveling the rest of the time. So, sorry, 1 second, I don't want to mess this up. So, invest in a coach. Also, the other thing is because of the time difference, his times are 6 a.m. in the morning. So I have to get up at 4:30, do my makeup, take an hour to loosen up my body, practice the choreography, because I haven't practiced, I'm being honest. Don't want to give any excuses. I did have a car accident a week ago, so that gives me an excuse for a week. It doesn't give me an excuse for the 2 weeks before that. I just didn't practice. My bad. But going forward, I do have to practice. That being said, I'm a fast learner. I did pick up my routines relatively easier. Okay, so leaning into your strengths. I've formerly worked in acting and dancing, so I remember my steps. I know what I'm doing for the most part. It's been a few years. I'm rusty, but I know I have that muscle memory that I can lean into. I've done runway for over a year. I did fashion runway, and so I'm familiar with my turns and everything. But again, it's been a long time. It's been a couple of years. So I have to kind of reawaken that memory again, but it's there. And so with that being said, and I gotta stand up straight. And with that being said, you lean into your strengths, but you don't assume those are going to get you through. It's good to start with them. It gives you a little bit of an advantage, beginner's advantage. It certainly isn't going to carry you through if you don't practice. So practice your walks, get yourself an instructor, especially one from a similar circuit who's worked with other girls from your pageant, preferably so they know what to do with you. So my guy, he's very well known. He works across many different pageant circuits, but he trains queens, and he trained who is right now Miss Universe Canada. So Ashley Collingbow, he's the one who trained her before she went off to Miss Universe, and she did place 12, right? So that being said, he did a good job with her. Now, he didn't train her when she was at the national level. He trained her when she was going to the international, so Miss Universe. But the point of the matter is that get someone who knows what they're doing, get someone who's familiar with your pageant circuit, not just someone who's worked with pageant girls before, because it's different from one to the other. One requires you to have more spring in your step, to do certain moves, others not so much. So that's as far as walking goes. So right now it's 4:30 in the morning. I am really tired. Not really, actually, I'm okay. I think the 4:30, I was quite tired at 4. I didn't want to wake up at 4. Give yourself plenty of time though. So I allowed myself the extra time to sort of ease into it, because I don't know how long it's going to take my muscles to loosen up. I was a bit tight in here yesterday, so give myself extra time for that. That being said, invest in yourself, and we are 3 weeks out from pageant right now, and one of the things I'm also going to talk about is I'm going to talk to you about training for the week, not training for the contest, training for the week. And that in itself needs training. It's going to be a very gruesome schedule. So I'm going to make a separate video because this one's already pretty long. I'm going to make a separate video about that. So walk, 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 train, train, train. Video yourself walking so you know what you look like. I don't like to see myself at all. I've done projects, entire movies. I've done choreography with songs that I have preferred not to watch. And of course, at some point I've had to run into it, or someone saying, oh, look, you're on TV. Here, let's watch this or something. And I hate watching myself. I hate hearing myself, actually. So it's not comfortable sometimes to do it. I can say I'm not comfortable with it. I'd rather not. I'd rather have fun and do it and it's done with. But that's how you learn. You get feedback. You watch yourself. You're like, okay, I like that. I don't like that. You need to study your angles, know what looks good, what you want, what side you want to present to the audience. If you don't watch yourself, you won't know those things, right? So I won't lie to you. All the costs that go into really doing it right? From, it's not just about the pretty dresses, but by the time you get the dresses and you have your makeup and you've run a few fundraisers and you've had to print out a couple of things and you paid for your tickets and you paid for your entry and you've, got 1,000,001 costs that you have to take care of, it starts to add up. And you might be tempted to say, I'm just going to practice my walk. I'm just going to watch YouTube videos. And there are some places where you tighten your budget and there are other places where you splurge. This, in my opinion, would be one of the places where you take the hit and you say, you know what, I'm investing in myself. I'm investing in my walk. It's something that's highly rated by the judges. Cut down on, a couple of pieces of jewelry, cut down on some makeup, cut down on other things, but don't skimp on this one. This one is something that you want to invest in, especially if you don't have any prior, actually, I'll pause and say, no, that's not true. If you have prior walking experience, sometimes that works against you if it's in the wrong areas. For example, say if you're a fashion runway model, the pageant way of walking is different. And if you try to go full-on model runway when you're doing pageant, it may work against you, depending on who the judges are. So learn the circuit that you're in. Learn what they're looking for, what they like, what is in fashion, in vogue right now. Now we're doing this thing where, you do your pose, and then you do another twist and walk out of your twist. Should know the name of it by this point. But, different things come up at different times. Different things are in vogue or the in thing to do. You don't have to catch on to every trend, but you have to be familiar with them. So if it's something that works for you, then use it. How to work with a sarong. We have a swimsuit that we're wearing at prelim, and then we have the same swimsuit that we're wearing at finals, but with a sarong this time. How are you going to handle that sarong? What are you going to do with it? Are you just going to drag it along? Are you going to, what's the best way to present yourself with that? That's the other thing you want to be familiar with as well. Okay. So invest in coaching. I myself will have taken, by the time this whole thing is done, about 3 one-on-one classes. It's a good chunk of change for me, considering all my other expenses. Remember, girls who are out of town, you're traveling with suitcases, a lot of them probably, your national costume, all of those things you have to ship it. So that's an additional cost girls out of province need to consider as well. So keep that in mind when you're investing in a lot of things. Cut down in some areas, don't skimp in others. This is the one you want to invest in because you're going to be graded on this one. You're going to be assigned your ranking pretty much on this, besides the interview and, your confidence level. This is the big one. Okay. All right.